welcome back to Rue's Life. And it's another absolutely glorious day here over at the plot and on the farm. And it's that time of the month. I'm going to give you my March plot tour. So let's start here in the Polytunnel. It is actually 35.3 degrees in here at the moment, and it's 19.1 degrees outside. So it really is a fabulous day. So let's start on the staging. So here you can see my sweet peas, and they're looking really healthy. So if you recall from previous videos, I started these out with a little propagator lids on them, but as soon as they start to germinate, I get those lids off, and they're looking pretty good. There's 4 different varieties there. Then in the cells, I've got lots of germination on the wildflower seeds, and the plan going forward is once they are established into plug plants, I will be using the bulb planter to start my wildflower meadow. So watch this space for that project. And then if we move across here to the left, these are my cauliflower all the year round variety, and they're actually looking really good. What I need to do now is get the brassica netting up outside, and I want to get these out into an outside bed. Now obviously I'm not too concerned about the cabbage white butterflies at the moment, but what I do need to be careful of is bird damage. So I need to get those nets up before I put these plants out. The geraniums in the hanging baskets, let's find one that I can really show you, and some in the pot, they are actually starting, I don't know if you can just see those, to come back. Some are looking better than others, but I'm quite pleased that the bulk of those seem to have survived despite me not fleecing them, because I just didn't get round to it. Now in this bed here, we've got some carrots, and they're really not the best specimens, and also they were originally sown in rows, and a little critter got in here when they'd not long started to germinate, and obviously I'd had a bit of a play in that area of bed, and so they've ended up not in neat rows. But there are some carrots, so I'm leaving those to develop. There are also some weeds. And then if we move along, I have just recently sown, and there's no germination on those yet, some more carrots just here, just in this area, and I've just scattered those, so we're carrying in the same vein of not having carrots in rows. And the ones that I've put here, I've got a little marker just there, so I know that in that area those are the little ball type carrots, Paris Market Atlas, so they're small ball type carrots, little stubby ones. I've then got some turnip. I've got the snowball and golden ball here, and they've been kind of slow growing over the winter. I should have thinned them out. They've ended up a bit clumpy, but you know, they're coming. And then in amongst those are some weeds, and also that looks like a little bit of Mizuna, and I did have Mizuna growing here last year, so I think that's a little self-seeded one, so I might just move that and let that develop. And then in the far end of this bed, we've got some chard and some spinach, and they are coming along quite nicely. And then over to this bed where we have got the onions. Now these onion red baron are ones that I actually started from seed, and when I came to harvest my onions last season, they really hadn't grown particularly well. We had some, but these were the little ones that were kind of set sized, so I took them out and I put them to one side, and I put them back in again in the autumn, and they're coming along quite nicely. And then to the left of those, we've got some leek seedlings. I have been sowing some seeds, so let's have a little look. So I've got some Celeriac seeds in this pot here. Down here we've got some purple sprouting broccoli. There is no germination on that yet, but it's only just been sown, so I wouldn't be expecting that, but I'm going to keep an eye on them. And that's just in those 4 little pots. And then moving on again, no germination on any of these yet. So down here we have got some cabbage Let me just have a little look at the variety, because I can't remember. So that's Golden Acre cabbage. I've got some Greyhound variety as well that I want to get in, that my sister gave to me. Very appropriate with us having the Greyhounds. Then we've got some peas in these pots, which are terrain, and some basil in that end pot. And then in this tray over here, I've got some pots and trays. And I've got some flowers, so I've got some larkspur here. This is Canterbury bells in that tray, and then thank you Ali, these are the giant marigold in this tray, so let's hope for some good germination. Watch this space, guys. Having said I wasn't going to do any tomatoes, I did say I might do one variety. So there's just 2 pots here with tomato moneymaker, so I just want a couple of plants really, so if I get any extra germination I'll probably give those away. And then in the pots there, in that little cluster, are some dwarf green beans. They are dwarf bean rondo. And that's all I've got going in here at the moment, but I do intend to start really getting going with my seeds from now into April. So let's go outside. So apart from a few weeds that need to be pulled up, the rhubarb is doing really, really well, and I'm pleased with the way that's coming back. And then if we move across, now most of these beds really do need a bit of weeding. We've had quite a lot going on recently, and therefore I just haven't had the time to dedicate that I normally do at this time of the year, but I will catch up with myself. So this bed's much the same. It's a little bit weedy, but we've really got some shoots coming now, and I'll get a little bit closer for you to see those on the raspberry canes. These are the autumn fruiting variety, so let's just get a little bit closer for you. So there you can see these are starting to shoot, and also if I take you further down the stem, I hope you can see that they're really starting to look nice and healthy. And then we've got strawberries also in amongst the weeds in this bed. And then if we move around, I'm just going to move to the other side so that the shadow isn't in the way. So just in the corner of this bed here, I've got my chives, which one of my sisters gave to me tail end of the year, and I popped them in here. They died off, and I've got some lovely fresh shoots coming through, which I'm really pleased about. And then we'll just move back some more. So this bed is empty. I've just been hoeing over the top of it and leaving them on the surface any weeds. There are also quite a lot of self-seeded California poppies there, but I don't want them there this year, so I'm just hoeing them out and leaving them to dry. And then moving across to the next bed, which has got the onions in it, and then at the very far end we've got the celery. Again, you can see up to about here there are an awful lot of self-seeded Californian poppy. And you may recall that I did say when I planted these, and I will pop a link above to me planting these sets, that I hadn't left as much room as I normally would. So normally I leave enough room between each row and enough room between each onion that I can get the hoe in. And this is the result if I don't do that. I've crammed an awful lot into a bed, and it's really difficult now to weed. However, those Californian poppy are acting actually as a little bit of a mulch. And I'll bring you up a little bit closer. You'll see that there aren't actually many weeds coming through. So they're kind of acting, as I say, a bit of a mulch and a bit of a suppressant, but they will have to come out because I don't want them in there. Now I have started, I don't know if you can just see in that patch, I've started to weed, and I'll just keep weeding across until they're gone. And it's actually quite a nice mindful task. I put my knee pads on and the radio, and it really doesn't take very long at all. So let's just get a little bit closer. So the onions themselves, I hope you can see, are looking really, really healthy, as is the celery at the end there. But as I say, I do need to get in and weed. And then moving on to the end bed. So there are 2 purple sprouting broccoli here, and then at the end that was actually a cauliflower. But the birds have been at it, so I really need, as I say, to get this netted before I put anything else out. And there's nothing else in that bed at the moment. And then if we just turn around, So we're now next to the squash bed, and again, apart from a few weeds, there's nothing in there at the moment. And I do need to do a little bit of work. If I just come backwards on the squash frame, so the basic structure is still there, but I do need to put some more structure to that before it's ready to plant the squash, which obviously will then climb up. So there's too much in the way of gaps there at the moment. It needs some more structure putting in. It took a bit of battering in the storms, but I've saved pretty much everything and I will rebuild that. And then finally, if we move on to bed 6, which is my new flower bed, and I have started to plant this up now. So here I've got 20, I think, no, 10. There are 10 allium bulbs in here, and it's a mixed variety of allium. And then if I just go up at the other end, you can see the other little white label. So there was 30 allium altogether, so there's 10 at this end and then 20 up that end. Here I've got some cranesbill or geranium, and then we'll move up to the other end of the bed along my beautiful new pathway. And I finally put the lonely lavender that's been sitting in a pot for about 2 years, I'm ashamed to have to say. So I've got the lavender in here, and that's going to do much better now it's in a bed. And then across in that corner, that is the Melianthus major. Now, I thought I'd killed it. It then started to sprout some nice green shoots, and now it's not looking so good again. So fingers crossed that is actually going to come back. And then in this pot, we've still got, let's move where there's no shadow. This is the tub of Rudbeckia, which I'm planning to take the dead stuff out, split it and get it into this flower bed. So I hope you've enjoyed my plot and polytunnel tour. I am a little bit behind this year. I haven't got as much going on as I have done in previous years, but I'm pretty confident that everything will catch up in the end. So I hope that wherever you are, you're getting some of this glorious sunshine. Do let me know in the comments below what you've got going on at the moment. As ever, I love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching. A big welcome to all of my new subscribers. Take care, and I'll see you all again soon.